And with that, it's over to Brexit now. In what was both a victory and then a massive blow to British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, lawmakers have backed his Brexit bill before voting against the timetable, thus leaving it again in limbo. Johnson's plan to lead the country out of the European Union has been dealt a major blow by the Parliament as the clock ticks down to the October 31st Brexit deadline. The UK Prime Minister has now hit the pause button on his Brexit legislation after his 3-day timetable was rejected.
Bureaucracy. If we have been due, I must express my disappointment that the House has again voted for delay, rather than a timetable that would have guaranteed that the UK would be in a position to leave the EU on October the 31st with a deal. And we now face further uncertainty, and the EU must now make up their minds over how to answer Parliament's request for a delay. And the first consequence, Mr. Speaker, is that the government must take the only responsible course and accelerate our preparations for a no-deal outcome. But secondly, I will speak to EU member states about their intentions until they have reached a decision. Until they have reached a decision, I must say, we will pause this legislation. And let me be clear.
In what was a day of high political drama, the MPs first voted 329 to 299 in favour of the government's withdrawal agreement bill, signifying support for the Johnson's Brexit deal with EU.
The ayes to the right, 329. The noes to the left, 299. So the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Unlock.
Now, this is what the first time lawmakers have voted to back a Brexit bill since the UK decided to break away from the European Union 3 years ago. But in a turn of events, the lawmakers then rejected the tight timeline given to get through the Parliament in 3 days. A British lawmaker summed up the situation perfectly, saying that he and his wife spent more time selecting a sofa than the time given to lawmakers to debate the withdrawal agreement bill.
Mr. Speaker, I was incredibly concerned when I was reminded by my wife earlier today that my wife and I spent longer choosing a sofa than we have to debate this incredibly important bill.
Jeremy Corbyn, leader of the main opposition Labour Party, branded Johnson the author of his own misfortune after the government's bid to fast-track the bill failed.
On Saturday, this House emphatically rejected the Prime Minister's deal. Tonight, the House timetable, and I suspect this House will vote to debate, scrutinise and, I hope, amend the detail of this bill. That would be the sensible way forward, and that's the offer I make on behalf of the opposition tonight.
Said that the EU has now taken note of the developments in the British Parliament. She also added that the EU expected clarity from the United Kingdom on the next steps. European Council President Donald Tusk has said that he will recommend EU leaders to accept the UK's request for a Brexit extension. So what happens next in this high-pitched Brexit drama? That's the next big question. Now, the next step would be to wait for the EU to respond to a request to delay the October 31st Brexit date. The EU is yet to respond to the request for an extension, but if sources are to be believed, Boris Johnson will now push for an election. If an election is triggered this week, it can only take place around the end of November, as the law requires 25 days between an election being called in Parliament and polling day. But Johnson cannot call the election himself and needs the backing of the Parliament as the chaos continues. A Brexit delay looks inevitable for the United Kingdom.
Interest in these matters for a long time and has helped to bring many members.